how the Nigerian national team, the women team, destroyed, their opponents. Everybody expected that Rwanda would have won. But I must tell you, Frank, it was electric when the national team Nigeria won.
If you look at the momentum at this point, yes, as Tony has alluded to, there seems to be this buzz around cricket, and it also you can also reference that to the individual in charge. Once you have persons who have the interest of the sport at heart, not what they can get,
the passion
of the sport, I think the sport will definitely grow. And if you look at the buzz, the level of followership, especially on the part of the media, people are now interested in talking about cricket. I think these and many other things definitely would help the sport to grow rapidly in the country. We just need that international attention that have eluded us for a very long time.
All right, very shortly now we'll be joining Uyi AKPATA to talk to us on this revival of cricket. But let me tell you that Dr. Uyi AKPATA is a member of Edo State Sports Commission. You can see the caliber of people there, and the man is doing a wonderful, wonderful job. Thank you so much, Dr. Uyi AKPATA, for joining us on the show today. We'll be talking about cricket in the studio. Everybody say football, but today is cricket. I want to welcome you to join us. How are you doing today?
My pleasure, anytime. Thank you.
All right, let's start now by saying congratulations, big congratulations on the recently held Women, T20 tournament in Lagos. How important, this tournament to the revival of cricket in Nigeria?
Well, thank you for that. I mean, it's just been an exciting week that ended last week Sunday with our girls triumphant over their longtime rivals, Rwanda. But for us, it was more than winning. That was just an icing on the cake. We wanted to show again for the third time in a row that Nigeria was very capable of hosting an internationally recognized tournament, especially as it relates to female cricket. So the Nigerian Invitational, which was instead edition, is now being one of the most sought after female invitational events. So from that perspective, the organization of the events, the outcome, the response received globally. I mean, there were many people from Africa and Asia showing interest in the live beaming of the live streaming of the event. For me, that was a huge success, because for female cricket, that's the ultimate, the end of the pathway for our young players to see themselves representing the country.
Like we're just talking in the studio, cricket is now becoming a reference point. Everybody's talking about cricket. Tony Ubani was at the Oval, within the week, and they were talking about the attendance. People are coming. The Oval is looking great. The seats are wonderful. What are your plans? How are you able to revive these things? Where do you want to take cricket to, in the next few years?
Okay, let me admit that the transformation of cricket really started about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I beg your pardon, under the leadership of my predecessor, Professor Uyi AKPATA, and then I was vice president. It was very clear then that we had to think about a long-term strategy to revive the game, and it was built on 5 main pillars: growing the game at all levels, that's grassroots support, aiming to reach 250,000 new players each year through our aggressive schools program, building of our facilities, state-of-the-art facilities. Now we have 7 top wickets across the country. It was nil 5 years ago. Strategic partnership with sponsors, media people, governments, and regulators such as the ICC, and making sure the technical improvement and competence of our players in terms of overall ranking, and of course, officials, coaches, and umpires. But underpinning all of these is just a strong governance structure, because without that, you can't gain trust. So I built on what was achieved in the last 4 years. It was very easy being vice president then to see the real accelerated improvements in our key performance indicators in the last 1 year. So for me, in all those those 5 strategic areas, we are growing in leap and bounds. I mean, there are specific KPIs we're looking at. Last year, one of my most exciting news is we reached out to over 200,000 people. 20,000 young girls from Zamfara took up the game of cricket. I mean, it's unbelievable what is there, recorded with data of these people. And at the end of the day, you can track the progress of this. Potentially, you see some of them playing the 5th or 6th Nigerian Invitational, because there's a pathway for them to try. So when it comes to our overall ranking, particularly for female cricket, this time last year, before this tournament, we ranked 40. Now we are ranked 28 and climbing very fast when it comes to the overall ranking. We've won a number of awards as it relates to cricket for good impact for the work we are doing in IDP camps, starting with the one in Edo State. So across board, with the various key performance indicators we are looking at, we're actively tracking it. We're getting more and more people involved in the game of cricket. Last year, at this time, there was no formal association of cricket umpires. Now we have an over 50 member strong team. We have coaches now being recognized ICC trainers in Nigeria so that we can run programs to get massive talents. I mean, in terms of large numbers of coaches that will be deployed across the country to train individuals.
Of course, there must have been challenges so far, from your driving cricket. So, what are the challenges, and how do you hope to surmount these challenges? Do you need help from the government? Do you need help from individuals? So, tell us the challenges you'll be facing and how you hope to, surmount all these challenges.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, there's not always, even if you give me 10 times what we get now, we raise our game, we always still need funds and rest. But let me talk about it. It's very, very important to look at it, because if you get all the funds without a well thought out approach, you cannot deliver. You misapply those funds. And so for us, it was very important that we set up the templates. We make sure that there's proper accountability and know how we judiciously utilize those funds for effectiveness. So now that we're establishing that on a regular basis, we are doing a gradual build-up. So if for instance, now I need, say, maybe 10 million naira for an event, you give me that without a proper plan, that cannot be achieved. So I need to build scale in terms of resources, capacity, define the objectives to be able to deploy that 10 million naira. When I've stabilized after a few years, I raise the bar, then I'll be looking for 15 million. So back to your specific questions, our strategic partners are governments and private individuals as sponsors. So most people always cry federations again to say, oh, government should give the monies. Unfortunately, that's not our approach. Our approach is for government to provide the right direction. Government has set up a policy for sports now, creating the right environment where private organizations now, in terms of sponsorship, can get tax breaks. To me, that's what I want to leverage on. That's what is going to be most sustainable for us. Government continues to give us the right environment in terms of, for instance, grounds, allocating grounds to us at TBS, allocating grounds to us at National Stadium, National Stadium in Abuja, Liberty Stadium, Kwara Stadium, and state governments give us the grounds. Once you give us grounds, then ICC can support in terms of technical reach and the rest of it. So our main stakeholders when it comes to funds, because they get immediate value, will be sponsors. This year's tournament we had in Lagos, we were able to attract about 15 sponsors compared to about 10 or so the previous year, including individuals. Everybody wants to come in and be part of this overall developmental agenda.
Thank you so much, Dr. Uyi AKPATA, for your time. I want to wish you and your family, a wonderful Easter celebration. Hoping that, cricket will be number one aside football. And trust us on Sportsville, we're always there to ensure that we put on, all our all, to promote cricket, just like we are doing now. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
We're talking to Dr. Uyi AKPATA and revival of, cricket and